let's say your lunch gets stolen, and you ask one of your friends if they stole it, and you can tell that they're starting to get uncomfortable. That doesn't mean that they stole it. I mean, if they tell you no and they're getting uncomfortable, that doesn't mean they stole it. It means that something is affecting them based on that question. It doesn't mean they're outright lying to you. It could mean that they have an idea of someone who might have stolen it, but they don't want to tell you. And that's a very different thing, because there's a difference between accusing them of doing it because you think that their body language is suggesting so, and them just having a tiny piece of information that they might not want to share with you. There's a big difference there. But the point is, something inside their brain is affecting them emotionally, and that's coming out through their body. Now, usually when there's a discrepancy between the words and the body, you should trust the body. We're not that good at faking it, most of us. So if they're telling you that they don't know anything, but their body is suggesting that they're uncomfortable, maybe you should dig a little deeper. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are guilty. It just means that something is bothering them about this conversation. Okay. Let's see. So have a bunch of, can you guys see the screen? Cool. I have a bunch of images from the stock market crash, and you see tons of people at their most distressed. And there's a lot of face touching going on. That's something that we do to calm ourselves. It's something about releasing endorphins into the brain that acts as a calming agent or something. I guess it's not super important how that works, but know that face touching is usually a calming, sort of pacifying gesture, they call it. Interesting or entertaining, that maybe I can, lead them into a character somehow. We also research a lot of films that we feel are like the characters that we're after, like for Shrek Forever After. The director wanted Rumpelstiltskin to be kind of this skeezy little, almost criminal, but really annoying and jumpy and kind of frenetic energy. And so we looked at Midnight Cowboy, along with a bunch of other things. There were like 8 different characters that he said this Rumpelstiltskin guy was kind of like an amalgamation of all of them. And so one of them was, that I remember specifically, was Midnight Cowboy, and Dustin Hoffman's character in that he's a lot like Rumpelstiltskin in how he carries himself and how the way that he tries to manipulate people with his words and all sorts of stuff like that. So we looked at him a lot, and probably a bunch of his gestures found their way in some form into Rumpelstiltskin somehow. And then the character kind of evolved on his own after that, but it was a good baseline, a good starting point for inspiration. There's more face touching. This one is a very interesting face to me. I don't know that you could do that with a rig and not make it feel broken, but he's almost pouting. It's really interesting the way that upper lip completely lower lip completely covers the upper lip. And the sadness in his brows is really subtle, but somehow you read it almost instantaneously. But they're not in the classic sad shape or anything.